He was gone a matter of minutes. My own son, taken from our front yard in broad daylight. If anyone had told me a week ago that I'd be at the center of a kidnapping case in our quiet, tree-lined suburb, I would have laughed. Even as a district attorney, I never imagined a crime so brazen could strike where I lived. But that's exactly how I found myself, frantic, heart-pounding, scanning our meticulously manicured street for any sign of Nate, only to discover it wasn't a stranger or hardened criminal who had taken him. It was my new neighbor. Someone from our homeowners association board had taken it upon herself to decide, in her infinite authority, that my son wasn't following the rules. We had moved to Hawthorne Grove 3 months prior, escaping the chaos of downtown to give Nate a safer, friendlier environment. My wife, Amelia, and I had grown concerned about raising a child amid the nonstop sirens and daily unrest of the city. Everyone told us suburban life offered tidy lawns, community spirit, and the gentle hum of children playing. For a while, they were right. Hawthorne Grove featured broad sidewalks perfect for scooters, ancient oaks providing shade, and street lamps that bathed everything in a golden evening glow. It was heralded as a model neighborhood, largely kept that way by the notoriously strict HOA. The board had several members, but one name loomed over all: Joyce Camden. She was called the warden behind closed doors, but her reputation was more Karen than caretaker. Always out front with crossed arms and pursed lips, she passed judgment on everyone's lawn height, mailbox decor, and even the angle of Halloween pumpkins. We'd heard murmurs about Joyce before moving in, tales of her weaponizing the HOA handbook to enforce everything from curtain colors to acceptable bird feeders. I wasn't worried. We planned to keep our yard clean, our lawn trimmed, and our presence quiet. That should have been enough. At first, we coexisted peacefully. I was consumed by work after a recent promotion, trying to lead our office toward greater fairness. Amelia, ever the homemaker, infused warmth into our new space. Nate had just turned 9 and adored our new neighborhood. We gave him the freedom to explore the front yard, trusting he was safe within view. One late afternoon, I sat on the porch reviewing legal briefs while Nate crouched near the sidewalk, fascinated by bugs. I smiled watching him. This was the peaceful life we'd hoped for. That's when I noticed the bright floral blouse heading our way, worn by a woman marching like she owned the street. She stopped in front of our yard, hands on hips, eyes scanning Nate as though he were vandalizing federal property. I stood and offered a polite greeting. "Hi there. I'm Daniel Walsh," I said, waving. "We're new to the neighborhood." "Joyce Camden," she replied sharply, never looking away from Nate. "Is he planning to seed that dirt patch?" HOA policy prohibits permanent landscaping without prior approval. I blinked. "He's just playing with bugs. No landscaping agenda." Her eyes narrowed. "There's also a noise curfew. Screaming children unsettle the neighborhood." It was 5 p.m. I nodded, keeping my cool. "I'll remind him to keep it down. Have a nice evening." She seemed surprised not to be challenged. With a grunt, she marched off. I hoped that was the end. It wasn't. Over the following weeks, Joyce kept a watchful eye. She would drive by slowly, scrutinize our yard, and even count Nate's garden figurines. Then came the warnings, a note under our windshield: "Quiet neighborhood. Keep children contained." An email citing Nate for practicing soccer on our lawn. We tried to remain civil, but something about Joyce's intensity worried me. She watched Nate too closely. Her complaints weren't about noise or landscaping, they were about control. Then came the neighborhood barbecue we hosted, a cheerful afternoon of grilled burgers and shared stories. Joyce hadn't been invited, but she appeared anyway, clutching a folder of HOA updates. She distributed them like court summonses. "Remember noise ordinances," she said, eyeing Nate playing with a neighbor's dog. "It's a Saturday afternoon," I replied. "Children playing isn't illegal. Private lawns aren't playgrounds," she snapped. "Don't make me cite you again." Neighbors stood in silence. Amelia squeezed my hand. I smiled through clenched teeth. "Thanks for the reminder." She stayed, glaring at everyone, sipping water like it was wine at a trial, then stormed off. That evening, we found a handwritten note in our mail slot. "No more unsupervised children. If you can't protect your son, we will." It wasn't signed, but we knew. "Should we call CPS?" Amelia asked, pale. I shook my head. "She doesn't know who I am yet. She thinks we're just another family to push around." We agreed to keep Nate indoors for a few days. Then it happened. A Thursday afternoon. Amelia had stepped out. Nate was supposedly in his room. I went to grab the mail and sign for a delivery. By the time I returned, he was gone. I tore through the house. No Nate. Not in the garage. Not in the backyard. I texted Amelia, "Is Nate with you?" Her response, "No." Why? I tried to stay calm, checked the neighborhood, asked neighbors. No one had seen him. Then I saw Joyce. She was on her porch, arms crossed. "Joyce, have you seen Nate?" She smirked. "I'm not a babysitter." Maybe he got tired of being cooped up. There was something in her tone, something off. "If you know anything, tell me." She leaned in, whispering, "This neighborhood has standards. Maybe someone had to step in." Sirens approached. Officers arrived. I gave my statement, omitting the notes for now. Later, I showed Detective Rivera the evidence. She threatened us. "You need to check her house." He hesitated. "Do you have witnesses?" "I have notes." She was the last person I saw before he vanished. He nodded. "We'll get a warrant." At 2 a.m., we were in front of Joyce's house. She screamed about civil rights but stepped aside. Room by room, they searched. Nothing. Then the basement. Locked. A pick. It opened. Empty. A workshop. She laughed as we left. "You'll be hearing from my lawyer." We were back to square one. Until my phone rang. A whisper, "If you want your son, come get him." No police. An address. A town over. I told Amelia. We decided I'd go, inform Rivera once there. The address led to a modest house. A woman let me in. "I'm Joyce's aunt," she said. "She brought Nate here. Said his parents were neglectful. I realized who you were and called. He's asleep." She led me to a room. Nate, curled up on a bed, eyes fluttering open. "Dad?" I held him tight. "I'm here." I never stopped looking. We were about to leave when the door slammed open. Joyce stood there, wild-eyed, wielding a metal bar. "You traitor!" She screamed at her aunt. "That boy is a menace." I shielded Nate. "It's over, Joyce. The police are on their way. I am the HOA president. You're a criminal. You kidnapped my son." She lunged. I blocked her, wrestled the bar from her grasp. Officers burst in, weapons drawn. She was cuffed, screaming about authority. Rivera looked at me. "We got her." That morning, Amelia embraced Nate, sobbing. Joyce sat in a squad car, defeated. Days later, charges were filed. Kidnapping, false imprisonment, child endangerment. Her aunt cooperated for leniency. Joyce had planned to re-educate Nate until we learned our lesson. The HOA removed her immediately. We stayed. We helped rebuild trust. A new president was elected. Nate recovered. He still dreams about it sometimes, but we remind him he's safe. Freedom to play. Freedom to be a child. Joyce Camden never expected that the law she tried to bend would rise against her, in the form of a father who would do anything to protect his son. Absolutely anything.